Hey, what's up, creepers and geekers? Chris, the Atari Creep. How's everyone doing today? I want to talk today about a console that was announced called the Syzygy 3200. Now we got to get through a little bit of trivia, if you will, before we get to the bones of this thing. But before I do, I want to let you know I debated all night. I read about this last night in the Atari.io forums. We have a new high score squad challenge, and I was over there to check that out. We're going to be playing ice hockey on the NES. But then I saw this post about this console coming out called the Syzygy 3200. It seems like a lot of smoke and mirrors and a lot of wishful thinking, much like a lot of other things that we know of in our hobby. People just cash grabs, whatever. But the more I read into it, the more intrigued I got. And I said, you know what, I want to talk about this. Even if it becomes nothing from this day forth, who knows where it's going to go. But it intrigues me because there is a lot of history to what's happening here. And hopefully I can relate it as best as I can. I would always encourage you to research it further anyhow. I'm going to give you this much information. And some of it might not be accurate. So please do your own research if this topic interests you. And fuck it, let's just get into it. So a console might be coming out called the Syzygy 3200. First of all, what the fuck is Syzygy? And this is important. It does relate to what we're talking about here, aside from the name of the console. I have the definition up here. And if you were to look up a definition, it says conjunction or opposition, especially of the moon and sun. I don't know what the fuck that even means. But it also says here, in astronomy, a syzygy is a straight line configuration of three or more celestial bodies and a gravitational pull. But more importantly to what we're talking about, Syzygy was the original name of Atari. Back when Nolan Bushnell wanted to start his company, he called it Syzygy. And I'm probably even pronouncing it wrong. It's spelled Syzygy. You figure it out. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, maybe I'm not. But that is the reason why he changed the name, because people were like, what the fuck is that? You know? And they couldn't pronounce it. So he took a phrase from a game that he used to play called Go, Atari, which is kind of like a kill cry, similar to saying check or checkmate in chess. So it's interesting if you look at Atari's documentation throughout the years and some advertisement. It actually states both Atari Syzygy on them. I believe there might even be a cabinet or two out there that also has that. So now that we got that out of the way, next part of history. As we all know, a lot of companies, They prototype things in between products. You know, we have our Nintendo Entertainment System. We have our Atari 7800s. We have our Sega Genesis. But a lot of times companies will prototype other things in between what we already do get and what we know and love. Sometimes it helps out with the next product. Sometimes it becomes the next product. And sometimes it just fizzles away and dies out. The Atari 2700 is a great example of that, though. There are consoles out there that exist. There were only a very limited number of ones actually produced, and it was a concept that never came out. 7800 is another great example. That was going to be something that came out a lot sooner than it actually did, but it was scrapped when hands were changed at Atari, and they wanted to focus on computers and not consoles, and the crash, but you get the point. Atari had a concept for a console called the Atari 3200, I believe they were going to call it. Now, what it exactly did, I don't know. You can do the research. I briefly looked into it. I recognized the console itself. It was a beautiful looking system. Had a great little joystick setup. Now, whether or not it would work great, obviously I didn't have one in my hand, so I can't tell you. But it looks like it'd be a nice joystick. It has an 8-way joystick and a built-in paddle. So that was pretty cool. And the buttons looked all futuristic for the time. It was a nice looking console that just never came to be. So now that we have all that out of the way, a gentleman has announced recently, and there's a website, and we'll get to the website here in a few minutes, that he's going to come out with this thing called the Syzygy 3200. He's going to take the original name of Atari, mix it in with a concept unit, and try to produce something. Maybe it's a cash grab, maybe it's smoke and mirrors, but it's going to be a console reminiscent of all the history of Atari within what he's doing that will be playing Atari 2600 and 7800 games in one. Much like what we were all hoping that the Retron 77 would be capable of doing. Still haven't heard back from them. I sent my unit out. Hopefully I'll get to know what's going on here pretty soon. We can get back to that. But this console supposedly will fulfill that niche. Now, whether or not it's going to have component composite or HDMI, I don't know. We're going to have to look at the website. Last night there was this much information, not much at all. But there's even more history to this than what I'm telling you about. Apparently the person who was heading it up, and I'm not going to put their name down, has a history within all of this, okay? I didn't go to the Atari.io forum, Atari Age forums. Bet you there's a lot more information there. Head over there for more information. But he's famously known for creating the Atari on a chip, similar to Nintendo on a chip. That was used in the Atari Flashback 2. That enabled you to actually mod it and put, a cartridge slot in there and you could play it. So, that said, the ability and knowledge is actually there to make this thing become a thing. The issues I'm seeing is, it doesn't sound like he's a bad guy. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to put anything on blast in case I'm giving misinformation. Is there is a history with this guy not fulfilling product promises, so to speak. Apparently there was some kind of a thing back in the day with they call it an XM module. You know what? Let me go into, I have tabs. I have information in front of me. Let me go to the IO forums where everyone like MaximumRD were talking about. But apparently back in 2010, a bunch of these XM modules were supposed to ship out to people. And here in 2018, there are still people waiting on it. Now, I don't know what it did. I don't know what it was for. Again, do your own research. I'm going to say that too. You can make a drinking game out of this, okay? But from what I'm reading about this cat, it doesn't sound like he was a bad guy or a shiesty fuck. Let's see, maybe the 2600 on a chip. Also, the XM module. He had issues in the past shipping product timely due to health issues. So it sounds like, and I've read other things about him, it doesn't sound like he's a bad dude. It just sounds like he got into some bad health and issues came up, bad luck, whatever the case. And that is why I'm saying this unit may or may not be smoke and mirrors. I don't know this gentleman's condition. I don't know where he is in the scheme of things. I just know there was this thing called an XM module that he was supposed to send out in 2010, and people are still waiting for him today. Before we get to the website, I just want to say this. I'm just considering this as okay, maybe. I'm not excited about it. I'm hopeful that something like this would come out. It's a beautiful looking unit if I haven't shown you pictures of it yet. Supposedly he's going to go with that design. And I would love to see that happen. The history of everything behind it, I would love to see that come to fruition. Plus, I would love a convenient way to play 26 and 7800 all in one convenient package that hooks up to a modern TV. So am I hopeful this will come out? Probably not. I don't know. I don't know enough of the history of the guys involved, and I don't know enough of the history of anything else surrounding it. So, that said, it would be great if this came out, and again, this is why I didn't want to make this video, because it's really not information. It's just kind of a, hey, here's an idea. Now go with it. So let's look at the website real quick, and I'll just give you some final thoughts, and I'd love to know what you think about this. Alright, so here's the website. Let me adjust it just a little bit more. And again, apologies for the crude. You know how it works over here. And this is already becoming a very long video, so we'll just get through this real quick. There's not much to talk about. But here it says the Atari trademark, 26-7800 compatible gaming console, Syzygy 3200 console, the all-new Atari with a star, 2600-7800 compatible gaming system. And I don't know how many times you could say that in one little spot like this, but fine. Crowdfunding. Of course it was going to be crowdfunded, you know what I mean? So, that's either going to make or break it. As we saw with the new Atari VCS, their crowdfunding went off without a hitch. I mean, they made bajillions of dollars, so we'll see where that goes next year. So this is all we really know about it, about the system, the controls. Not just a joystick, but a combination 8-way directional joystick plus a built-in paddle controller as well. And that's what I was talking about with the controls. Now, these are pictures of the actual conceptual Atari 3200, okay? So these aren't anything that they've made, to my knowledge. This is pretty much what Atari came up with back in the day when the system was a prototype. Nice looking joystick. It's reminiscent of a couple of little things that we've already seen and have a bad taste in our mouths with, but if done correctly, I bet you this would be an amazing joystick. It looks comfortable, it looks all right, and if this has a short throw, I think it would work pretty well. So let's see about the system. Engineered to bring back the excitement, fun, and thrills of owning a system that everyone loved and wanted. Okay, it was a beautiful system, and people were excited about it when it was going to come out. When Atari 2600, 7800 compatibility to allow the system to be able to play real. I don't know how many times they're really going to say that, but if they're just going to keep repeating that, whatever. But what more can you really say? I know. Yes, this is real. That doesn't mean anything, honestly, to me. I can make you a website right now saying the Who's He What's It 87,000 is going to come out, and it's going to play every game system that ever existed and ones that don't exist yet. You know, all you have to do is think about a game and it'll produce it for you. Maybe it'll rub one out for you when you're depressed. I don't know. But I could make a website and say it's real. So this is all speculation. I don't know. Designed into an all-new sleek case design that was a prototype for an unreleased console called the 3200. We've already talked about that. Both joystick and paddle controllers built into one, they've already said that, with sleek, low-profile design that brings a whole new dimension to game players. How many times have we heard that? It's like getting that system that you always wished for back in the 80s and 90s, and finally it has arrived. Thanks to so many contributors in the hobbyist community, there is now a brand new system to use with original and many of the newest released 26 and 7800 games. Looking to the future. This is a pretty futuristic image. That's cool. That makes me feel like we're in the future. The 3200 is a stepping stone on the path to help bring other products and technology. Some that were released and are getting harder to find, and to bring out prototype products and technologies that were left on the drawing tables and then thrown away. Thankfully recovered by the efforts of the Atari Museum. So, and then you have a little area here where you can drop them a line. I might message them saying, hey, look, I have a small YouTube channel. Hook me up. All right, Syzygy Engineering, the Syzygy 3200 gaming console, and all of the products are not affiliated, endorsed, or associated with Atari Inc. So that is your lot as far as the website is concerned. So learning anything truly new from a site this small, so new, it's almost impossible. We have the idea of something right now, and that's literally all it is. They're using images from back in the day. They don't, as far as I know, have anything physically in conception that they could show us, play with. They have an idea. And almost after reading this, sounds like they want to take a whole bunch of concept stuff and bring it back to life. The positives. This is my positive thoughts. If something like this were to come out, my ass would be all over it if it was priced accordingly. I would love a sleek, sexy console like this. It is sexy. That does what it says it's going to do. The negatives. Well, it's crowdfunding. Nobody likes that anymore. It's an idea, and there's a history behind the individual involved with it not producing. So, it's a neat idea, and it's a nice pipe dream. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't, but I will most certainly keep my fucking ear to the ground. Keep an eye on this, and I will update you anytime I see or hear anything, both positive and negative. And that's really all there is to it, guys. Let me know down below what you think of this. It's definitely a niche thing, so I know the majority of people are going to be like, meh, and they're going to be like, well, it's never going to happen. And I'm kind of with you on that. But here's to hoping. Here's to hoping that something like this could become a reality. And that's really all there is to it, guys. So go ahead and leave feedback down below. Thumbs up, thumbs down. All feedback to the Creep is positive. Thank you always so much for watching. Don't forget, you can still donate to the Alzheimer's Association. Link will always be down below. Until next time, hope you're doing well. Take care. Creep it real. I've been seeing that everywhere. You know, when Justin over at the Atari.io forum said, you should use this as your phrase, your tagline. I was like, that's cool. People like it. It's fucking everywhere this year. It's on storefronts, t-shirts, socks, floor mats. I don't feel as original anymore, even though it was given to me, you know. But that's it, creep it real, okay? Just fucking creep it real. And bye-bye.